SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
Well, here we go. Day 59 without live sports, and SportsBeat continues to crank out the hits. Thanks for tuning in today. I'm Sam Farnsworth. Now, as Michael Jordan highlights have been flooding the airwaves and the internet once again, we're taking a look at his pre-finals history with the Utah Jazz. We'll get to some of that here in just a bit. But first, even though it's been 8+ weeks since the Jazz were last on the basketball court, we may be seeing the light at the end of this tunnel. The Jazz expected to open team facilities this next week for individual, socially distanced workouts at the team facilities. Does this mean the season will resume soon, though? Commissioner Adam Silver spoke with players on a conference call yesterday and said the league doesn't need to make a decision on the season this month or even right away in June. But he did say all team owners are on board with returning. Jazz general manager Dennis Lindsey was on a conference call with media earlier in the week saying the team is busy working on a number of things while they wait for the season to resume, including the draft. But what does he actually think about when and if this season will resume?
It's overlaid simply by can we come back safely? If the health permits, then let's try to come back. I'm all for naming a champion, even if it's a truncated champion. You want to compete and name a champion. I do also think that if we are able to recapture even a very truncated piece of the season, it allows us to look at potential ramp-ups for 2021. I think there will be some things that we could learn, but obviously I would defer all of those opinions to the league, most importantly, and that's all going to be predicated by data and health, not what Dennis or anybody else personally thinks we should do.
So baby steps, right? Lindsey also said that he believes Rudy Gobert's positive test for COVID-19 saved lives, bringing light to just how contagious this illness is. But it also reportedly exposed a rift between Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, who also tested positive. Now, even with all of those stories circulating throughout the media, Lindsey says he believes his two stars are ready to move on and work together to win games.
They're ready to put this behind them, move forward, act professionally. Look, the COVID-19 night of March 12th was really unprecedented. It brought a microscope to our team, and we get it. With that said, we're very pleased with the collective makeup of our group, Donovan and Rudy in particular, and we look forward to moving forward. And they've said their piece to each other. I think at the end of the day, Donovan and Rudy, I don't want to speak for them on every matter. They'll speak for themselves moving forward. But I think at the most basic level, they know they need each other to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish as being the last team standing in the NBA.
All right, well, hopefully we see them back on the floor soon. And as we hope for a quick return and a bright future for Jazz basketball, we're still having some fun reminiscing about some of the great moments in the Jazz past. It's time now to look back at this day in Utah Jazz playoff history. How about we turn back the clock to May 9th, 2007. This is Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals against Golden State. The Jazz bench took a hit when D. Brown got injured, but the Stars shined bright in their roles. Carlos Boozer went for 30. Mehmet Okur chipped in with 23, the big man from downtown. AK-47 had 20 points, and Darren Williams added 17. But the Jazz fans will never forget this. Derek Fisher arriving late to the game after being with his daughter in California for cancer treatments, and he iced the game in overtime. The Jazz took the 2-0 series lead, went on to advance to the Western Conference Finals. 1 year later, the Jazz were in the conference semifinals against the Lakers. Game 3 of that series, the Jazz had to overcome a signature Kobe Bryant game. 34 points for the Lakers superstar and that awesome dunk. But Carlos Boozer delivered 27 points, 20 rebounds to lead the Jazz. Memo added 22, and the Jazz got the win 104-99.
Go down the side. They do. Stock's got it. He's got running room. Stockton, grab, hang it up. It's good. It's good. The Jazz win it. The Jazz win it. I can't believe it. The Jazz win it. An unbelievable finish. John Stockton, Calvin layup. Can you believe it? The most incredible finish I have ever seen in my life. Incredible. John Stockton, a breakaway.
What a moment. ESPN's docuseries The Last Dance follows the Bulls' 1998 championship season as well as much of Michael Jordan's career. No doubt it will include a lot of Utah Jazz memories. But Jordan's career against the Jazz was much more than just back-to-back finals series. Last week, you saw that highlight. We took a look at his career against Utah during the 1980s. Well, this week, we jump into the 90s, starting off in Salt Lake on November 12, 1990. In the first quarter, Jordan with the steal and gets extra fancy. Behind the back, lays it up and in. He was feeling creative all night. How about this circus shot? Gets in the lane and flips it home. It looked like the Jazz would have a 2-point lead after one quarter, but right after Blue Edwards sinks the free throw, Will Perdue chucks it down floor to Jordan. The touch pass to Stacey King with 1.6 left to tie it up, and then it got fun.
George Steele, put it up, three-pointer. He made it at the buzzer. He made it. It counts. Incredible. The Jazz give up 5 points in 4 seconds of play.
Ouch. In the second quarter, the Jazz trying to get the transition game going. Jordan chases down John Stockton with the block. That quickly leads to Bulls transition opportunity. Jordan to King, the dunk. Stockton did end up with 13 points in the game. Here's 3 the hard way by Johnny Basketball, off the glass and the foul. He also had 14 assists. One of the best assists in the game right here. Whips it to Jeff Malone on the break for an easy 2. Remember that spin move from Jordan earlier in this highlight? Well, this time Mark Eaton is the victim. No chance on this play. But that's when the mailman wakes up the crowd.
He'll lead it to Delaney Rudd. Jazz on the run. Left side of the mailman. Hammer dunk. The mailman. Go in there. Loop it up on the left hand. Wild shot.
28 points, 19 rebounds for Carl. 2 assists. This one, a fastball to Jeff Malone for 2. The game was tied at 82 in final 30 seconds. The Jazz have a shot to take the lead. Stockton is going to split the defenders with the pass to Malone. Malone, he can't convert. Chicago gets the ball back with 15 seconds left, and it's no secret who's going to get the final shot.
5 seconds. Left side of Pippen. They want to go to Jordan. They got him. 2 seconds. Jordan. Left side. 20-footer. Good. Jordan did it. The game is over. Chicago wins it. Michael Jordan. Incredible shot on the left side at the buzzer.
A year after Stockton's last-second heroics, Jordan knocks the wind out of the arena for the 84-82 win, the final game Jordan would play in the old Salt Palace. 4 months later, the Jazz were in Chicago. It was another close contest and another look at the jersey of the greatest Bull of all time in the rafters, Jerry Sloan. First half, Jeff Malone blocked by Scottie Pippen. Bulls on the run. Pippen to Jordan. You know how this is going to end. Jazz get the ball back, and they are running the good old pick and roll. Stockton to Eaton for the hammer. 11 points, 16 rebounds for the big man. The Jazz led by 5 at the half, kept building that lead in the third quarter. The mailman up and under for the layup, led by 7 after 3 quarters. The Bulls not fading yet. Jordan is going to get the bucket and the foul. Upon further review, take a look at this. Jazz fans, they'll always call that a push-off, right? MJ, maybe a little magic there. I'm just saying. This time, Jordan beats everyone down the baseline, though, for the dunk. That Jazz lead is now gone. The mailman trying to keep pace with Jordan, though.
Carl across the middle, left to right. Slam dunk. Count it. He's fouled. The mailman. Foul. Horace Grant.
That one's worth another look, and John Stockton is loving it. Look how fired up he is about that. Jazz trailing by 3 late in the game. Jordan with a chance for the dagger, and of course, he hits it. 37 for MJ. Karl Malone led the Jazz with 19. The Jazz 0-2 against Jordan and the Bulls in that 1990-91 season. Well, in the 91-92 season, the Jazz first met the Bulls in Chicago in January, and this time there's a championship banner in the rafters. Start the second half, the Jazz had a 2-point lead. Jeff Malone played lights out with the mid-range jumper. Then Jeff Malone for the off-balance fading shot. He would finish the game with 16. Stockton had 15 assists. But surprise, surprise, Michael did Michael things. Hits the jumper over Jeff Malone. The Bulls climbing back into the lead in the fourth. A turnaround fall away is money by Jordan. Another jumper here by Jordan from the free throw line. I mean, that's his money game all day long, that mid-range game. Michael finished with 37 points, 5 rebounds, bringing the Bulls back to beat the Jazz by 15 points. Now, earlier that season, the Jazz had opened their brand new arena, the Delta Center, and the team experienced instant home court advantage, losing only 4 games all season long there. And when the world champion Bulls came to town on February 3rd, they got everything they could handle from that hometown crowd and the Jazz 2 all-star players. The Jazz were running early and often in the first half. Big Mark Eaton on the rebound, outlet to John Stockton, ahead to David Benoit. He's flying high for the dunk. Buckets didn't come easy early on for Jordan, blocked by Eaton. The Jazz run the other way. Stockton takes it in for the layup. Jazz led by 5 at the half. Now the Jazz defense gets things going in the second half.
Jump back to the way. Picked up by Stockton. Stockton down the left side. Cross court to Gobert. Hammer down. Oh, baby. You gotta love it.
I do love it, Hot Rod. The most emphatic of Karl's 34 points. He also was a monster on the glass with 21 boards, but the Bulls outscored the Jazz by 7 in the fourth quarter. Jordan to the hoop, blocked by Stockton, but Will Perdue is there for the putback and the foul. In the final minute, Jazz down 2. Stockton is going to get the reverse layup to tie the game at 89. Now under 10 seconds to go, still tied, but Stockton uncharacteristically, he's going to throw this ball away. So the Bulls will have the last shot in regulation. Michael Jordan, a chance for the win. Here it is, the jumper. It's money, right? No, he misses, and we go to overtime. He rarely misses twice. So in the first OT, the step back 3 with 6 seconds left to tie the game, and it's good. So we go to double overtime. MJ missed 2 free throws, giving John Stockton a chance to force a third overtime.
For Stockton. Stockton down the left side. 3-pointer. Good. John Stockton.
The Jazz to get the basketball back. What some opportunities here. Big shots.
Yeah, so in the third overtime, Michael Jordan ties the game at 123 with the jumper. In true Jerry Sloan fashion, just run it back the other way. No timeout called. Jeff Malone is fouled by Jordan with a second left. Mike is furious. He gets teed up and tossed. The Jazz make free throws. They win the game 126-123. Afterwards, Phil Jackson did not hold back.
Whatever he said, the referee deserved it because you don't make foul calls like that at the end of an NBA game. People know it. It's a desperation drive. You know, I don't even know how much you got him, but you just don't make those calls.
From midcourt, Jordan, a 50-footer, he made it. Michael Jordan.
We're just warming up here on SportsBeat. When we come back, a tight contest in Salt Lake City in '93. Then Jordan returns to Utah after a 2-year hiatus. A lot more highlights. Stay with us. Welcome back to SportsBeat. You know, when the Bulls first matched up against the Jazz in the 1992-93 season, Karl Malone matched Michael Jordan point for point in a 4-point game at the Delta Center. This one was on February 1st, 1993. The Jazz were up 8 in the final seconds of the half when this happened.
Jordan, a 50-footer, he made it. Michael Jordan. Oh, what a shot. I mean, that was a shot. That was not a throw. He actually shot that ball just across midcourt.
Yeah, the Jazz led 45-40 at the break. Karl Malone kept the Jazz rolling in the third quarter. He was 14 of 18 from the field for a game-high 40 points. The Jazz were up by 15 going into the fourth quarter. Enter his airness. Jordan, the crossover and the jumper. Then he's going to drive it in and bank it home for 2 more. And that crossover is just a killer, especially against Jeff Malone. Seems like he was the victim of it a lot because here's another one and another long jumper. He finished with 37 points. Then under a minute to go in the game, Jazz now trailing. John Stockton nails the 3-pointer. 20 seconds later, a chance to tie it up. Ty Corbin misses the layup. The Bulls outscore the Jazz by 19 in the fourth, and the Jazz lose by 4.
We facilitated the comeback, and of course they hit great shots. Jordan went crazy, and that's what happens.
Now, the second time the Jazz and Bulls met that season was in Chicago on Michael Jordan's birthday. The Jazz trying to beat Jordan at the United Center. Scottie Pippen steals it from Stockton. MJ is going to come up with the acrobatic finish. Oh, up and under for the layup. You know, David Benoit, one of the best dunkers as well at this time, puts it down. 14 points for him in this game. Michael Jordan was the complete player, though. From the parking lot. Scottie Pippen, we all know how he can get up and throw down as well. Put back there, 14 points for him. The mailman led the team with 20 points in this game for the Jazz. His fadeaway jump shot, but Jordan on the receiving end of the alley-oop cannot be stopped. Finished with 27 points. The Jazz were beat by 18 points. Well, we know the story here. Jordan didn't play in '94, went and played baseball, right? But when he returned in late '95, the Jazz had already played the Bulls twice, so they went 2 seasons without meeting up on the court. The next meeting was on November 24th, 1995, and Jordan picked up right where he left off the last time he played the Jazz. First time wearing those black uniforms, too, against the Jazz, and Jordan scorched the team. He also pulled down 8 rebounds, dished out 6 assists. The Jazz offense was a bit sluggish. John Stockton driving for 2 and draws the foul from Jordan. Then he hits the 3. He had 23 points in the game. This was Jordan's night, though, a game-high 34 in a 90-85 loss. A month later, 2 nights before Christmas, there was a new face on the Bulls. Dennis Rodman picked up in a trade. This game was also all Chicago. Only 4 players scored in double figures: Jordan, Pippen, Malone, and Stockton. But Jordan and Pippen combined for 58, while Stockton and Malone just 32. It was a 186 loss to the Bulls as Chicago improved to 23-2 with that win. Oh, what a great story. Well, from one former Ute in the NFL to another, Alex Smith has been in the spotlight a lot lately for his remarkable recovery from a severe leg injury that even threatened his life. Well, this week, some of his Utah teammates from that 2004 team joined KSL Sports, and Quinton Ganther said there's no way most players would come back from the injury that Smith sustained.
It just shows what type of person he is mentally. I mean, because 90%, 95% of all people in the world, if they had that injury, they don't want anything to do with football ever again. You know, they'll curse football. They'll say it ruined their lives. But this guy, he's still trying to play this game, which shows a lot of determination, and it shows you what type of character he has and what type of fight he has. And I wish him all the best. I'm glad it's not me, because if I had the injury.
Well, our archives are not only full of great Jazz moments. How about on the ice? 40 years ago, a championship came to Salt Lake City on the hockey rink. We'll look back at that next. On May 8th, 1980, the Salt Lake Golden Eagles hosted Game 7 of the Adams Cup Finals in the old Central Hockey League. Their opponent, the Fort Worth Texans. Led by Doug Pellizzari, the Golden Eagles skated off the ice that night with the Adams Cup, one of 5 championships the Golden Eagles won in the 70s and 80s. Best video of the week is coming up after this. Our top video of the week is this one. This is Garrett Alcaraz, a senior at Tehachapi High School in California. He has Down syndrome, but doesn't let that stop him from reaching the top of the record boards. A new school record, 355-pound bench press. Way to go, Garrett.